and thank you for tuning in to the Matt Weiner Show today. On today's episode, it will be the first of Purple and Bold, where I'll be going over the Lakers free agent signings this offseason. Lakers fans, Dorf head of the week. Because, God, they were so fucking annoying. It was painful. Featured interview will be with my friend and mentor, Blake Harris. Blake is the creator of Harris Highlights, which is currently the most subscribed to college football channel and has over 160,000 subscribers. And to end the show, I'll be going over a couple of MLB's newest rule changes. Some are good and some are Dorf. So last but certainly not least, free to stink in '03 and keep the fake. So we're going to kick this bitch off with a new segment called Purple and Bold, where I'll be talking about the Lakers. The 2018 to 2019 Lakers and the Hangover have one huge thing in common, and that's sucking at threes. Finishing second to last, 29th, big 2-9 in the league for three-point percentage can be put under the category of this ain't it, chief. After last year's miserable display of shooting behind the arc, it was clear they need a three guy. So thank you, thank the almighty heavens that they were able to sign Mr. Tirehead Danny Green. So big shout out to Mr. Danny Green for joining the Purple and Gold squad. During my finals recap, I did mention that he did the Anne Frank challenge offensively. For those that are unaware, the Anne Frank challenge is when you literally disappear. For some of the games in the finals, not going to lie, it was quite abysmal. But the thing that always stuck, which always kept him in the starting lineup, was his defense. His defense was really solid, and he played a huge role in obtaining his second ring. And one thing's for sure is that you could not say that he was carried by Kawhi at all. So going into this next season, if he could just average a little bit over 10 points and shoot anywhere between 41-44%, we'll for sure see an increase in the win column. Danny could really get colder than an Eskimo's testicles if he's not drippy from beyond the arc, because he really is a one-trick pony on offense. But when he gets drippy, he turns into fucking Johnny Storm, just letting the flames out. Danny brings to the table many of the things that the Lakers were lacking last year on defense. Not to mention that he also accomplished something only KCP did on the team last year. No, it wasn't getting a DUI and playing games with an ankle monitor. Thankfully, it was shooting over 80% from the free throw line. The Lakers were so garbage. Just basura at the line. The Lakers were so trash at free throws last year that you would think the refs made them take shots of Henny before each attempt. Just Nupid faced out there. There were so many games that were lost or almost slipped away during the final minutes because of missed free throws in the fourth quarter. I mean, the thing is, everyone always gives me shit when I say LeBron did not have a great year. Good, but not great. Yeah, he had 27, 8, and 8, but the guy shot 66 from the line. Like, come on. You got to get with that. Like, this is your GOAT? Nah. So is it fair to say I will not be wasting $12 to see Space Jam 2? Yes. And I guess you might have to add Boogie Cousins to the list of cast members along with AD now that he's signed with the Lakers. You know what? Honestly, talked a lot of shit about him during the finals recap, but just like Danny Green. But I am glad that we are getting DeMarcus a year after he had his little hoe phase. Going to the Warriors for like $4.5 million-ish last year was the equivalent of like sucking 10 random dicks out of getting into a year-long relationship within the span of a month. Nonetheless, depending on next year, his thoughty behavior can become a distant memory if he plays well. Boogie's in an awkward phase right now because the last 2 seasons have not gone as planned, and us as fans, we quickly forget what he once was. During 7 seasons on the King, he had 21 and 10. Then for 65 games on the Pelicans, he had 25 and 12. Some insane numbers, but the numbers did take a dip this year when he put up 16 and 8, and then he looked like he was pulling a train while running up and down the hardwood in the finals. His lackluster defensive performance in the finals could be attributed to the quad injury, but this week he said that he is 100% healthy and his goal is to play 82 games. Playing 82 games is a bigger stretch than me trying to fit into a medium. But hey, 65-ish games? Okay. Now that's a snug fit. That's more of a between large and extra large, so we're chilling right there. When you got guys like LeBron and AD, Boogie doesn't have to be a scoring machine like his old days on the Kings. He does not have to put up 20 points every game to be for the Lakers to be in a position to win. But the one thing he has to do is to go dummy on the glass for sure. I'm talking snooky dumb. White girl wasted dumb. The Lake Show have not had a center average a double-double since Dwight Howard put up 17 and 12 during a very, very forgettable 2012-2013 season, which is probably the last time people were Lakers fans too. Fake ass hoes. To put into context how long it has been since a guy averaged a double-double, the hit song at the time, or the hit song of the year, was Blurred Lines, and Miley was still rubbing her clit on wrecking balls. Whew, gross. That was a horrible phase. That was. The Lakers have been cursed with lackluster big men since Powell. It sucks. So that's why it was so hard when he left, because you're like, damn, this is going to be trash for a while. And yeah, side note, so 2K14 has been my go-to video game this summer, and playing with Robert Sacre on association mode sucks. That dude bricks like no tomorrow. He definitely has a reserve spot on the Lisa Ann team of just blowing dicks. The Lakers are in a nice position for big men now that they have this battery pack of Boogie and AD. And you know what? God forbid any of those guys go down. You got fucking JaVale McGee. I'm so ecstatic that they re-signed him. And last season, he fell under the category of he nice. He averaged 2 blocks and 12 points a game, showing that he is a force on both sides of the court, especially defensively. He moved so well, and there was definitely a huge difference when he wasn't in there and when he was hurt. So it'll be interesting to see how Frank Vogel decides to split up their playing time. So JaVale, AD, and Boogie, since I know you are all obviously listening to the show right now, because you would be a fool not to, my one piece of advice is to go hard in the motherfucking paint this year. We need you guys. We need you. Besides resigning JaVale and signing Boogie, the Lakers also added Avery Bradley and Jared Dudley. Not gonna lie, that Dudley dude was low-key funny during the playoffs last year with the whole beef with him and Ben Simmons. Because, like, it is low-key funny talking shit to Ben Simmons because he can't shoot. He has the yips and skips when it comes to anything that's not a layup. So, who knows? Maybe this year his role in the team is just professional heckler, and he just trains his throat and his vocal cords all summer to be able to yell for 48 straight minutes 82 times a year. Who knows? Would be very, very impressive, however. Last year, he plays the wise teacher role very well for a Nets team that was pretty young. If he could just hold down the bench chemistry and be the brains of the second-line defense, that's all you could really hope for. The Quinn Cook signing will also add some security to the point if Rondo goes down, and who knows if at any point during the season he'll be the starting point guard. He had some bright moments during the finals this year, like the Warriors lose game 2 if he is not wetty on back-to-back threes at the end of the game. Cook has also been a Lakers fan his whole life. It was dope to see when he posted the really awesome throwback on his Instagram story of himself and his father that passed away. The addition of Avery Bradley really showed that the Lakers want to improve their perimeter defense as well. So I think it's a common theme with their signings that saying, damn, we really need to fix what's going on outside, because it was pretty painful watching guys not close out. I just got to be honest. I mean, solid closeouts on shots became $2 bills at the end of the season. So shout out to the time where Kuz literally had to shove LeBron just to get a closeout out of him. Lazy fuck. But some little bit of sad news from the offseason. Doesn't look like Make 'Em Dance Lance is going to be coming back. It's kind of sad. Honestly, like, that kind of fucking sucks. During a very depressing season, he was the team mascot. And when he dropped Jeff Green like a bad habit, that was top 5 moment of the year for the Lakers. Not a very impressive top 5 because it kind of was a bad season, but oh well. It was pretty painful because they kind of sucked. But that's the best part about the NBA right now is that your team could literally suck one year, and the next year, they might go stupid. They might go absolutely dummy. The way NBA offseason has become It really seems like any team, given the right circumstances, could completely change their fate. And that's why this offseason has been so fun, because it was the thing that I feel like really reset the NBA. And now since guys are on so many different teams and just all these new combinations, who knows? It's going to be interesting to find who works and who doesn't with each other. But sports fans have to realize one thing. One thing. We have to realize you can't really hate a player for not signing with your team. Okay, exceptions. If it's a Kevin Durant thing, then I understand. He was a hoe for that. Just legs wide open, just pussy the size of the Pacific Ocean. But if you're a Lakers fan and you're butthurt about Kawhi, then go plop your tuchus on a cactus. I don't know what else to tell you. So I think it comes as a no surprise that the Laker fans have earned Dorf Head of the Week and might potentially be the Dorfs of the NBA offseason. I really don't know if it is just my timeline, but Lakers fans are the absolute worst. The fucking worst. They get more horny than Jerry Sandusky in a boys' locker room for any free agent that is rumored to come to them. And when that free agent does not come, which has literally been everyone except for LeBron, they get so defensive and butthurt. Like, there is no bigger. You know what? I don't give a fuck. There is no bigger cancer on like sports social media than fan accounts, because they're so biased and unrealistic. Like, Lakers fan accounts guarantee guys like Jimmy Butler, Paul George, you name it, and now it's most recently Kawhi to come join the team. And then after, they get hot. It's kind of like that one annoying guy who is really excited about a girl and is all horny, but when he gets rejected, he says something like, "We stopped talking, but it wasn't really because of me. It was just because she was fat and smelled weird." Once again, nothing to do with me. I saw so many tweets that were pretty much saying, well, we didn't want Paul George and Kawhi anyways because they didn't have that Mamba mentality, and they definitely could have hanged. So, but what happened to the part where you were all horny and posted 3 times a day and then wouldn't shut the fuck up about them? What happened there? What happened there? It's not even just on Twitter. The Instagram accounts are horrible too. So, in general, some true posts of someone that's a little butthurt bitch. Rumors are rumors. Until something is official, you can't really assume anything. Lakers fans see posts with a quote from some league source going along with a player photoshopped in the jersey, and just say, "Hey, oh, I guess that means we're gonna get the guy." Nah, it doesn't work like that. They literally are the guy that walked past the girl and be like, "Dude, do you see how she checked me out? She totally wanted me." But like, it's just the average person who's just looking in your general direction because you're walking on a sidewalk. Like, what? Get. I wonder what's worse, that guy or the guy who thinks every guy that looks at him is trying to fight him. Either way, the Lakers are definitely them. It's just the annoying part about how biased they are when it comes to players. Like, I understand for what I'm doing right now, because whether it's with the Lakers, Dodgers, USC football, Texans, name it, there is just the fan side of me is going to make me a little bit biased. But I still will try and be as fair as possible. Like, trust me, I know the Lakers have sucked. It's no surprise. Like, I just feel like the Lakers fan accounts literally have the worst case of beer goggles. Yeah, I remember when they were hyping up Reggie Bullock and Mike Muscala. Look how that turned out. Get the fucking strap, dog. Nah, that sucked. I remember one account was saying Mike Muscala adds the perimeter defense and beyond and shooting that the Lakers really do need. That's not it. You know, Lakers fans, while they do have all these emotions and might be considered to be little bitches, the one thing that it does create, or the one thing their emotions do create, are really, really fun rivalries. And I cannot wait for the crosstown rivalry between the Clippers and Lakers. Like, the last time the Lakers legitimately had a rivalry was just back in the days against Boston, the beat LA days. While I literally wanted to strangle Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, I can't lie, those days were fun. Those days were awesome to be a fan. But now with the Lakers sucking, they don't really have a real rival because game most likely doesn't matter because they're just going to lose. But now heading into this season, finally we actually have a good storyline for basketball in LA, and I cannot wait. Like when the problem is with the Clippers and Lakers, they weren't ever good at the same time as each other. Like when the Clippers were going dummy with Lob City a couple years ago, it was the beginning of some very dark times for the Lakers. And then when the Lakers were good, Clippers were. So on Mamas, Lakers versus Clippers on social media is going to be such a shit show. I can't wait for all the people who have never watched a regular season game to give their takes. It's going to be fucking awesome. Just kidding. I'm probably going to want to throw my phone against the wall. It's going to be so annoying. It's going to be so trash. But so there we have Dorf Head of the Week given to Los Angeles Lakers fan accounts and just fans in general. Just because the bad ones, the stereotypically annoying Lakers fans, they're the worst. Stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, and they suck. So also went over the free agent signings, definitely more into detail with Boogie and Danny Green. So now here's an interview with Blake Harris. Joining me on the Matt Weiner show today on the casting couch is Blake Harris.
Yes.
Most people probably know him as Harris Highlights, but a few years ago, Blake started. Yeah, there we go. Already represented Zane for Heisman.
You have to.
Yeah. So a few years ago, Blake started, was just at the time a small little college football highlights page, and now it's grown exponentially. And the awesome part about this interview is not only is Blake from Arcadia, but he also went to Arcadia High School, was a part of the same kind of thing that I was, Apache News, the kind of news stream that we have at Arcadia. And then also is at ASU for sports journalism right now, something that I'm going to be following. So really great to have you on the show.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. The setup looks fantastic. The assistant producers backstage were very nice to me, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, assistant producers were Lola, our dog, and then Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is just a little gig got going on. It's a little something.
Not bad.
But yeah, so once again, like I just think it's so crazy that our footsteps literally just kind of correspond with each other. What was your kind of first interest when it came to APN? Is this something that you heard from a friend? How did that get started?
So I remember my freshman year at Arcadia, I didn't know APN was a thing, and it was like the first or second week of school, we gathered around the TV, and this was back when, I make it sound like I'm so ancient, but back when Arcadia actually had TVs in the class, and you watched it on the TV, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and they had a really cool sports segment right there, and I remember the first week I saw it, I was like, I definitely want to do that when I'm a senior, because back then it was pretty much kind of seniors only. Now I know they have a bunch of juniors, but I was like, when I'm a senior, I want to be in APN to do sports, just because the first episode got me hooked, and so pretty much I just made it kind of a goal of mine, my next 3 years to try to get into APN, and it happened.
So what was that process like? Did you know right away what you were going to be doing?
So pretty much, no, it's the application process. You kind of put what you're interested in and what you want to do. And at the top I put sports, and there was a bunch of other stuff you could put, news, just producer, editing, all that kind of stuff. So I put sports at the top of mine, and I had to go in, and it was a weird interview process because they said oh, what separates you from someone else? And I was like, I don't know, I like to think I'm a pretty funny guy. And they were like, oh, can you tell us a joke right now? And I don't even know what I said, but I was like, okay, well, I'm not that kind of funny where I can tell jokes. I'm more of a, if I'm with the homies, I'm going to roast you kind of guy, and I just have funny comments. And I said something stupid and no one laughed, so I was like, okay, I'm screwed. But it was a weird process, but the good thing for me was, not that I'm saying that I wouldn't have gotten in, but when I applied, pretty much everyone that was already in APN was a senior the year before, so they were essentially just bringing in a bunch of new people, so maybe that's why I got in, but I got in nonetheless, and I'm very happy I did.
Yeah, it's always crazy with what Arcadia has been kind of given and offering, because when you're actually at Arcadia, kind of the constant talk is how hard it is and how frustrating the academics are. Anybody, especially if you're white at Arcadia, anybody will tell you that it's a bit crazy. But kind of now that I'm a couple days away from finishing, by the time this will be up, I'll be graduated. But I've truly realized that it's definitely a private school that you get for free.
Yeah, when I tell my friends about it, at ASU, I'll be like, yeah, I went to Arcadia, and I got like I think I finished like my total GPA my 4 years was like a 3.2, and I'm like, yeah, I did awful.
Twinsies.
And everyone's
Yeah.
like a 3.2. That's fantastic. I'm like,
Yeah.
where'd you go to school? Like, oh yeah, like no one was getting like a 3.5 or like a 4.0, and I tell them that we had like 5 perfect SAT scores, and they're like, what, like, and everyone got low scores, but it's just. Yeah, like you go to Arcadia and you're expected to be a genius.
Mhm.
Like I said, a 3.2 for all those people out there that didn't make honor roll, it's not a big deal. But at other
No.
schools, like a 3, if you get like above a 3.0, you're considered like achieving. Whereas Arcadia, you literally feel like you're like dumb.
Yeah.
So that's Arcadia for you.
Yeah. No, that's the craziest part is that like growing up kind of until start meeting new people, but towards the end of high school, moving forward, but it's like I thought I was like you legitimately think you're especially being it's not easy being at a school at Arcadia where you're most like there's gonna be maybe 2 or 3 white kids in every class. Gonna be
Oh yeah.
gonna be the tallest one in there, gonna be the only one to like sports and nobody gives a fuck about sports.
All right, well, since I guess now that answers my next question, I was going to say, are we censored on this show? And since we're not, when I went to Arizona State, after my first day, I sent a text to my mom, like, this is unbelievable. Now, no racism or anything, but I'm like, there's no Asians here.
Yeah.
Like, it felt weird for the first time in my life going to a school where,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean that in the least offensive way possible. But I was like,
Yeah.
there's no Asians here. So I mean, I'm grateful for my time at Arcadia, but it was definitely kind of like a culture shock leaving Arcadia and getting to experience a different school and what that was like. But hey, still no complaints about Arcadia. I love it.
No, yeah. That's the funny part about Arcadia is that like it's so much fun to talk shit about Arcadia. It's so much fun to just make just all the cringe that goes on when it comes to all the kind of robots that are there, and there's a lot of things that can definitely be improved and are low key kind of shitty, but then there's so many great things and opportunities, and that's like for APN. I mean, that was truly incredible. Frank Nunez was one of the guys that really truly progressed my career, and he was there from the beginning for me. He and Jeremy Sutton, who is one of the cameramen there and is going to be working there as well. They've done an excellent job, and what they're doing with my whole start was. Now I'm going to be opening up about how like my whole sports journalism career started. For you, it was kind of making segments and stuff. But for me, I was actually never a part of it truly, like a part of the class. But what they had me do is work the live streams for the football games. And then eventually that kind of turned into me making my own segments and eventually leading it to here. But it's just fucking mind-boggling the way that it's set up there is that like the kids who are supposed to be successful are kind of this same model where if other people kind of go on their own route and it doesn't look the same, it looks a little bit weird.
Yeah, I mean I'm glad you took the way you did, because back when I was there, we didn't have like the live streaming and anything. Where I was shocked about, because Arcadia, they definitely have the money to afford that kind of stuff, and nowadays with like live streaming, I mean, not that many schools have that. Where if you want to do like whether it's play-by-play or anything like sports journalism related, you can't really. So the fact that Arcadia, and of course they do it the second I leave, like APN just advances like crazy. Like the cameras we were using were legit like 360p, like video quality. Now you guys are like 1080.
Well,
so
speaking of casting couch quality.
Oh, I know. So there you go, right there. So yeah, I'm glad that although you don't necessarily make APN, that there's still like opportunities like for you. But I mean, it's with APN, I feel like APN, it's unless you're getting like 80 people applying. I feel like it's a thing where whoever applies, they should get in, because it's something that could really help out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think maybe they had 30 or so kids when I was there, but if you have 45 or 50 kids, there's no difference. I mean, maybe just make the class a little bigger, but I think APN's doing it right, especially now, because I've been checking it out, and it's by far better than when I was there. When I was there, that show was shit. I mean, except for the stuff I was in, but I've been impressed, and it's this guy right here, some good football streams. Check him out.
Always. Yep, gotta get on the live streams.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of fun being able to be a part of that. What it's like to really run a show. I mean, that was pretty close to. I mean, if you look at the quality, at least compared to other live streams that schools do and that other areas do, it's the same, if not better, I think. And yeah, so kind of wrapping up with Arcadia, you were able to make some of those great bonds through friends and through with friends and then through APN as well. Are you still in touch with any of the same guys?
Oh yeah, so oh I'm so proud to say this. So my senior year, I had like a group of about 8 or so guys, and around like March, I think it was March our senior year, we thought it'd be the coolest idea to make our own frat, which we did. We called it Masta Beta. We made custom tank tops, and to this day, all 8 of us, we still have those tank tops. We still refer to ourselves as Masta Beta. And I remember Tommy's little brother Dylan. I think there were rumors of them trying to revamp the frat this year for their senior year. I don't think it happened, unfortunately, but yeah, that it kind of brought us all together, made us that close. We're still close. We're having a Big Bear mob at the end of the month. It's going to be a damn good time. And so, I mean, APN, I only made really kind of like, I'm like familiar, I'm friendly with everyone, but I got one really close friend from it, Gabe, who is also in Masta Beta. He, it helped bring him into Masta Beta. But pretty much as dorky as it sounds, all my friends essentially came from band. But hey, that's when, band was cool, trumpet player, and whatnot. But no, Arcadia is, shitty as it was at times, those are my closest friends. It's ironic because everyone says college is where you'll have your closest friends, but for me it was high school, and Masta Beta, we're thinking about adding new members. So if you guys are interested in joining a frat, we don't have a no haze policy. We do haze, but with you join, you get a free tank top and you get access to our Facebook group, which has a bunch of great, very very NC-17 content of stupid stuff that we've done. So if you're interested in joining Masta Beta, hit me up on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and we can discuss, because we do need some pledges to clean the house. Our house is actually a few blocks down. The Here residence.
Is this real?
Yes, this is a real fraternity. Our house is down at the Here residence. We meet in the backyard once a year to discuss, our philanthropy work and whatnot. So if you're interested in joining Masta Beta, hit me up. I swear to you, this is legit. If you go to my Instagram bio, I have our Greek letters in there. I guarantee. You can go check at the end of the show. It's there. It's real, and it's the best.
So, well, I guess now I'm going to have to check it out. I want to see some Edward 40 hands action.
Oh, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Would you say over, under craziness, over Edward 40 hands? Are we doing more or doing less?
I'd say our senior year and like the summer of our senior year over, but now, because we all kind of went, we didn't go our separate ways. Everyone just went to college and everything. We just haven't been able to hang out as much. So definitely under now.
Okay.
But like I said, Big Bear's coming up at the end of June, so that might be an over for the weekend at Big Bear.
So the streak in the lake action?
Hey, we did a game called What Are the Odds? I don't know if that's still a thing now.
All the time.
All
the time.
Our senior year, and I'll just name one brief story, but essentially we have it where if you choose not to do it, you have to have a punishment, and the punishment always was you have to go streaking to get to like the end of the block wherever we were. So it could be like one house down, it could be 10 houses down. It was always just to the end of the block. And the day of prom senior year, I forget what it was. Someone, what are the odds me to do? And I was like, I can't do that. So I went streaking to the end of the street. A car drove by. This is all on video in the Masta Beta Facebook page. And that was the scariest 30 seconds of my life. But hey, what are the odds? You got to do what you got to do. And we did it. There you go.
Respect.
Hey, we don't fool around with Masta Beta. We go hard.
You guys definitely aren't a couple jerk-offs.
Nope. We're a legit frat.
Yeah. But yeah, so now that last part about Arcadia, one of the, now that I'm able to kind of share some things, the way this all got started was Tommy's little brother, Dylan. So Dylan Gadori and I have been going to school for years and whatnot. So awesome dude.
Way to go, Dylan.
Yeah. This literally wouldn't, this was fucked. So this is probably sometime February-ish of this year, 2019, where I hit up Dylan and is like, I think I'm possibly interested in making some sort of YouTube channel with sports. Do you think you could give me Blake Harris's number? I'll talk to Blake, and then he's like, yeah, I kind of introduced him the idea to this, and he said, yeah, nobody's really kind of doing this, and then here we are.
And I remember he called me and was talking to me, and it's literally in the last 10 years the sickest I've ever been in my life. So I like literally I had yacked like 5 times previously in the day. He like called me and somehow for like the 45 minutes I was able to get through without like having to yak or crap. And like literally and it was just for one day only. So like the day I needed to be fine, I was just violently ill, but I somehow got through it. And I don't know how I did, but I just remember that entire phone call. I was in utter pain, and it was horrible. But I was still able to provide some insightful information that he's put to good use. So that's good.
Yeah. Who said sports journalists aren't gritty?
No, and actually yesterday I had, I don't know if it's just something about him and me having bad luck, but actually yesterday I had a cyst above my ass that I had to have removed. So as I'm currently sitting here, I'm in a little pain, but I'm getting through it because that's what sports journalists have to do. But I think this guy might be some low-key curse on me of the worst possible times of my health.
Yeah, I think I might just kind of get it. I might be the new Drake.
Yeah.
Just you said you're crapping, and then now the cyst on your ass. So
Yeah.
When it comes to the general health of your ass and digestive system, I definitely have been putting a Drake curse on you.
Hey, it's all good. I'm here, and that's what matters.
Yeah. So thank God for that one conversation in February, because now leading up to all this is kind of where I'm going to be heading as ASU. So how early did it take for Harris Highlights to correlate with ASU, or do you keep those completely separate?
So pretty much it only took about a month into when I was at ASU. So I mean, I went to PCC for 2 years, so I did that after Arcadia, so then I went to ASU, and pretty much after a month I was thinking, I kind of want to like do a podcast, a college football podcast. I never done one. I never, aside from like APN, never done anything with cameras or mics. And I talked to some of my close friends at ASU, and I was like, dude, would you guys be interested in doing a college football podcast? Because I figured I had such a huge following on my YouTube channel that a lot of people would watch. It'd be kind of cool. And I was like, I tried scrolling through YouTube and anything, and there weren't any like college kids that were doing like a college football podcast. So I thought it'd be cool. So we recorded one episode, posted it to YouTube. The first episode got like, I want to say 10,000 views after a few days. I'm like, okay, guys, I think we can do this. And it just became like a weekly thing. And we just did it literally. My friend had some like crappy microphones that we just recorded into.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just post the audio on YouTube with like some pictures I put over it. And then we did it for the entire freshman year. Sophomore year, we did the same thing. We never thought about putting it on, because ASU has their own radio station. We never thought about doing it on the ASU radio station. And then our third year, so this past year, we applied and we got it. So now we do it on the ASU radio station, and we decided to add cameras to it as well. So now it's like a full-on, actual show. So we've incorporated. So that's how I've mixed ASU and, my channels together, which has been great, because now, all my buddies, there's been times where like we get recognized because of the show, and I'm like, damn, like, I mean, because each week we get maybe like 8 to 10,000 people, but I guess it's in Arizona a popular show, so it's kind of weird how we all get recognized, and we have like a Twitter account for the show that gets blown up like crazy every time we record. So it's been cool incorporating my channel with what I do at ASU and the show, which has turned out to be a huge success, which I'm very happy about. It's the #1 most viewed college football podcast on YouTube. I know it's like one of those ESPN stats that just sounds like it's made up, but most viewed college football oriented podcast on YouTube that's like not ESPN or Fox or any of those stuff.
Yeah.
So there you go.
No cap.
No cap.
But yeah, so where did your love for sports and kind of the inspiration for it really come?
So I mean that's like the weird thing. Like when I was in APN, I mean everyone like would just assume I did sports. I literally didn't do sports. I did sports the first week, which is the sad part, because my entire mission and goal of APN was to be on the sports team. I did sports the first week. I covered football, and they got their ass handed to them by Monrovia. The score was like 65-10, and during the segment, I was showing the highlights, and I was like, yeah, it was a close game for about the first 2 minutes until Monrovia just started kicking ass. And I guess the football team got offended by this, and they all came after me pretty much on social media and threatened me if I ever do another football post again. So pretty much after that, I never did sports, and I just did comedy videos every week with my friend Gabe. So sports was not a good thing at free APN, to say the least. But I guess my it's weird how I found it, where because when I was applying to ASU, I'm sure you know, everyone knows this, ASU's a party school, and everyone just thinks ASU is easy to get into. So I was like, well,
It is.
if I'm guaranteed to get into ASU, I might as well apply.
Mhm.
And when I was looking at the application, I had to like pick some majors, and I'm like, the hell I know. I don't know what I want to do. So I just put down sports journalism because I was like, I like sports. That sounds cool. And I got in for sports journalism, toured the campus, and I was like, okay, this seems pretty cool. It's still close to home. I'm getting to cover sports, and ASU surprisingly has like one of the best journalism schools in the country.
Yeah, they do.
Which I was shocked about. I don't know how that's possible, but they do, and I went there, and I've slowly just gotten involved. And like I said, I mean, I didn't find sports journalism. I guess it found me, and I got no complaints. But I hated writing growing up. I still do hate writing because I have to take like online communication classes for my minor. Which, by the way, I saw the video with Chad Johnson Jr. and he's like, the easiest major is communications. I can confirm communications at ASU is as easy as it sounds. Everything is online. You can find. I think the lowest grade I've gotten like in a class that's a communications one is like a 92 or 93. All the classes are online as well, so you don't have to go in person. So ASU communications is the move, but
Fucking forks up.
But sports, like I said, sports journalism. That's how I was able to find it, and I'm glad I did because I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, that's the funniest part about ASU is that, like, you know, that was kind of going back to Arcadia. It's so frustrating where if you're not going to a UC, Harvard, Stanford, then you're considered a bum. And so that's why it was so relieving to be able to go to ASU. It's like, hey, I could literally get into a school with a 3.1, 3.2 that is better in my specific thing than you having to slave for it for 4 years while your parents tortured you, and now you and your parents don't even have a good relationship. So that's always the most satisfying one. And you know, one thing I love that you mentioned is that, you know, sports journalism for you found you, but I always feel like the way the careers really do find you, that like when it comes to your interest, and then it always leads back to it. Because for me, sports I wasn't as into sports. Grew up diehard Dodger fan, diehard Lakers, diehard USC, and kind of got out of that for a little, and then noticed as soon as I got back into this realm, started making this after kind of conversation, life just improved tremendously because of the great world of sports.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, from all my friends through high school, like Mass Debata, it's weird that not one of them really was like a huge sports fan. Like I think some of them, like they were familiar with the Dodgers, they can name a few players. Yeah. Like we would go to like a few Clippers and Dodgers games and whatnot, but not any of them are really like sports fans. And I knew a fair amount of sports, so I felt like a sports genius, especially back here. You go to ASU and you're doing sports journalism and you're around a bunch of these kids. Like I legit like feel like a dumbass compared to some of these kids, because there's some of them where like they can name like every Super Bowl matchup that's like ever taken place. They can name like the craziest stats for anything. Like they know so much. Like they'll just be talking about like, you know, like NFL games and NFL players, and they're just like naming off like all these players from every different team. Like, and I'm like, I could barely name all. Like I'm a Saints fan. I could barely name like, you know, 3/4 of the roster, let alone what these guys are doing. So it's cool though having like a bunch of friends now that are diehard sports fans, especially that are fans of a bunch of different teams. So that's been really cool because it really brings you together. Because now it's literally all I do is when I'm at ASU is just I'm watching sports, I'm talking sports. Like in my apartment this past year, we had 2 TVs in the living room that like on college football Sundays we'd have different games on. So it's, you know, it's like I said, I've found my home because and like my girlfriend gives me so much crap. She's like, "Oh, I hate Saturdays during the year because it's like your number one focus." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's only for 12 days of the year where I'm like, you know, unattached really, where I can't really talk to you that much and go to the games and whatnot." But I absolutely love it, and you know, it's a fun time. So, again, ASU sports journalism, it's the move.
Yeah, like Walter Cronk. At least when I went to my orientation, they said Walter Cronkite was a top 5 school for journalism.
Yeah, I've heard like Syracuse is good for that kind of stuff. I think they're number 1, but yeah, with Walter Cronkite, I was like I'm still in shock how it's so highly rated. Like they just had this they do this Gym Dance award list every year where it's pretty much like the top 20 like college sports journalism students. And this year for the top 20, I think Syracuse had like 7 or 8, I want to say, maybe not that much. But ASU was in second place. They had like 4 or 5. And one of my closest friends out there, Josh Schaefer, who does play-by-play, he came in 19th place for the second year in a row. But yeah, it's so ASU, like they're essentially, like I don't know what the official rankings are, but I like to think we're number 2 in the country, which, again, when you think of ASU, people say, hey, are you majoring in alcoholism or are you majoring in partying? And I'm like, no, I'm doing sports journalism. And like, it's kind of a drag though when you say that because people still have the assumption, you know, ASU, you go to ASU, you're stupid, which still may be the case. You know,
I'm definitely dumb as fuck.
I wasn't the brightest kid, but still, like, I hope that slowly over time, like, because I'm surprised a lot of people still, like you say, Cronkite, it hits them. Maybe it's just because people out here in LA don't know about it, but yeah, it's ASU, they're on the come up for journalism and actually low-key a bunch of other stuff as well. So, hey, maybe one day we won't have that partying and alcoholism thing above our heads.
Yeah. Oh, well, doesn't matter. Don't give a fuck now. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, what's so crazy is that now you've started your career. Can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing with the Dodgers?
Yeah, so pretty much, I'll just start from the very beginning. Like 2 years ago, because I had no experience at all. I like covered the ASU like baseball team for the ASU radio station, which isn't really a good outlet. And I wanted to start, you know, applying to stuff, because I had nothing on my resume. My resume was literally Blaze Pizza, and that really can't get you anywhere in sports journalism. So 2 years ago, I applied for a job at Arroyo Seco Baseball. They pretty much play next to the Rose Bowl, and it's just a collegiate summer league with a bunch of, like, you know, community college kids. It wasn't a big deal, but I was literally sitting at a fold-out table having to just do game recaps for this, you know, shitty league. Hey, Arroyo Seco Sentinels, that was a fun team. We got to travel on a crappy bus to, like, Palm Springs, a bunch of places. So that was a great internship. And so I was able to put that on my resume. And then, so last year, in about March, I applied for a spot at Dodgers Nation, which is like a huge Dodgers website. They have like 100,000 followers on Twitter, 500,000 followers on Facebook. It's like kind of like the number 1 Dodgers blog.
Yeah, I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, so it's like the number 1 Dodgers blog out there. And I just applied, and I got it, which was great. And wrote for them for a few months. And it's great because I got internship credit with ASU. So ASU, you're required to have an internship. I knocked it out, which is great because I finessed them, because for ASU, the internship, you have to do about 40 hours a week, where I was literally writing like an article or 2 a week that was taking maybe an hour most. And then I guess like the head guy found out about it like at the end of July and was like, okay, yeah, you definitely need to write more. So I was able to finesse that. And so my thing was pretty much ending in August, and I then was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I noticed, I don't even know how I figured this out, but I went to an SB Nation like blogs opening post, because I was always interested in writing for like an SB Nation site, just because I wanted to see what they had. And I noticed that the Dodgers one, True Blue LA, had a position that was opened up, and I was like, okay, like might as well. So I just sent in my resume, sent in some of my Dodgers Nation work, and I didn't hear back for like a month and a half. I'm like, okay, I didn't get it, oh well. And then like a month and a half later, the head guy responds, and he's like, yeah, sorry, we had about like 80 different people apply. We were going through each one, and we thought you were like the most qualified. We'd like to bring you on board.
It was the pizza skills, wasn't it?
Oh, it was definitely the Blaze Pizza at the top of the resume that got me. And he's like, yeah, so we only pay $600 a month, so is that okay? And I'm like, hell yeah, it's okay. I didn't think this thing paid at all. So I got $600 a month, and so I think, yeah, I got that in September of last year, and I've been doing it ever since. We're pretty much, you know, it's typical, game recaps, game previews, like breaking news, profile pieces, kind of whatever you want to do. And so I pretty much did that, and it turns out, which I did not know at the time, that True Blue LA is credentialed with the Dodgers, meaning I could, like, go to games and cover them, which I was like, okay. So when they were out there for spring training, which is great because ASU is about 10 to 15 minutes from all the Arizona spring training stadiums. So I got to go out, cover some games at Camelback Ranch where the Dodgers play spring training. Didn't know my way around there, but I figured it out. And literally my first day on the job, which was, you know, I interviewed Russell Martin, Austin Barnes, Caleb Ferguson, Tony Gonsolin, who's like one of the Dodgers' #1 prospects, and it was weird because I was like interviewing Russell Martin, who was the first ever Dodgers jersey I had, which I got when I was like 10 years old.
A classic.
And,
a classic.
Oh, a classic one, and it's tough because you have to act professional. But for me, like I'm a diehard Dodgers fan, and here I am interviewing these guys in the clubhouse. At the age of 22, I feel like I don't belong. So that was a cool experience. And then I came back for the summer, and I've been going to games at Dodger Stadium, covering the team, getting to be in the clubhouse every day. I was at the game last night for the Will Smith walk-off home run, and I was a few feet from him interviewing him after the game. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where the right thing fell into the right place, and it's the dopest job. It's not going to, it pays the rent every month, which is great, but right now I'm enjoying it while I can, because who knows how long I'll be able to have this for, but it's definitely cool because, a lot of my friends, they're doing like Cape Cod gigs, covering Cape Cod baseball teams, or having some other internships. Now, I don't want to brag, but I think at ASU, I want to know if there's anyone that has a cooler job than getting to cover the Dodgers this summer at Dodger Stadium. I ask you guys to go find someone with a cooler job. I guarantee you can't find it. Guaranteed.
That's dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever got the chance to talk to Chad Billingsley.
Oh, boy. That's a name I have not heard in a while. I'm still pissed he never got a bobblehead. He deserved one.
Never?
No, never did. To this day, I'm still salty about it.
Damn. That Dodgers fucked up with that one.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, so, that's just so crazy coming from the time that, I grew up, I remember Matt Stairs hitting absolute the daddy hacks in the series
of Jonathan Broxton.
Yep. The thing is, Dodger people forget it, LA sports, because, at least with the Lakers kind of going down, but people forget about how much LA loves their teams. And I can't forget those series, watching Hiroki Kuroda absolutely blow it in 08.
You're just bringing back a bunch of hurtful memories. Oh, those damn two Phillies teams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate them. They were good, but yeah, 12-year-old Blake was very upset in those days. Now I'm literally just thinking about that Matt Stairs cock shot that almost left Dodger Stadium. Oh, that was awful.
No, it was horrible. But one of the great parts that I love about the kind of sports journalism and what I'm doing is that I get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. So I haven't seen much yet, but there's been things like going out to places, like going out to Cathedral to interview Chad Johnson. You get to see get to be in the locker room and in the coach's office and stuff. It's really neat. But you get the true behind the scenes. You get the good shit. Talk about Hunter Ryu's daddy hacks.
Yeah, so the other day I was at Dodger Stadium watching BP on the field, and Hyun-Jin Ryu, this guy can rake. He hit I wish I would have been filming it. He hit one out of Dodger Stadium, out of Dodger Stadium, past the bleachers. He also hit a couple other home runs that were in the stands, but Hyun-Jin Ryu can swing the bat. I don't know how he hasn't hit a dinger yet, but it's coming, and when he does, I think it's going to go 400-plus feet. It is absolutely unreal.
Yeah, one of my favorite players this year has been Alex Verdugo.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's always hitting the 6th and 7th hole. That's besides me. But have you gotten any chances to interact with him?
Alex Verdugo, I think, is my new favorite Dodger, because this guy literally, I think he's only 22 years old or something like that. So he's literally my age, but this guy literally does not give a shit. He's the, I'm going to say funnest. He's the funnest guy to be around, because he literally is just always just having a good time. I remember I was at the game this past week when they had the 4-run comeback in the 9th inning, and they're interviewing him, and he's just these boys can hit. He's just acting all whatever. He's we're nasty. And last night we were interviewing him, and I guess he has some slogan that he came up with for himself, and they were oh, can you use that slogan for someone else like Will Smith? And he's hell yeah, you can use that for him, man. If he's hitting, he's hit. He's exactly what you want to see from baseball nowadays, where he's constantly having a good time. And he like I said, he gives the best interviews. And I don't know if you've been to a Dodger game this year, but when he comes up to I think I'm definitely gonna butcher how it's pronounced, but I think it's Volver, but it's just just hardcore Spanish song. Dodger Stadium goes crazy, to no surprise, but he's like without a doubt like becoming my like favorite player just because of his personality. But also, I mean, this guy is raking. I don't know why Dave Roberts. I don't know why he's hitting 6th or 7th, but he needs to step it up. But definitely, like from what I've gathered, like in the clubhouse, Alex Verdugo was like the most energetic guy to be around, and also the nicest guy on the team to interview. Russell Martin, without a doubt. That guy will literally give you like a 10-15 minute interview, like whenever you want. Nicest guy ever, which I'm very glad to find out.
Might have to have him here then. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I'll ask some of my Dodger friends if we can get him on the Matt Weiner podcast and get him here on the casting couch, and if we could fit 3, because that'll be a fun time.
3 is never company. Maybe with Jocks here though.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. But one thing, when we were catching up the other day, you were talking about Cody Bellinger being a great guy. He just looks like he's ripping CBD all day. He's in the CBD oasis. It's kind of cool, always collected.
Yeah, I was telling him, I was like, you by looking at Bellinger, you wouldn't think that he's literally like on pace for the single-handedly greatest season in Major League Baseball history. He's just so calm. He like talks to everyone. He's always in a good mood. You know, he's not a dick or anything. He's just very chill, which again, maybe, you know, knock on wood, I just hope he's not taking steroids because of how good he's been.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird seeing. I mean, it's just weird seeing how these guys go about their day, like what they're like an hour or two before game time. Now, of course, Kershaw, that guy, it's like he's the most intimidating person in the world, so him I can understand. But everyone else, they're just laid back. You know, some of the stuff they say behind the scenes. I remember like in spring training, they were talking about The Bachelor? I can't remember. The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I watch the show fanatically. I'm a huge fan, and they're talking. They're like, man, dude, this Hannah B is fine as fuck. She is so hot. And I'm like sitting there listening. I'm like, Cody, you're literally Cody Bellinger. You could slide into this girl's DMs and she would mess.
Does he have a girlfriend?
I hope not. And I hope if he does, she's not watching this, because he wanted to smash Hannah B from The Bachelor. So who knows? But it's cool getting to hear these guys behind the scenes and like how they are and what exactly it is they do. I mean, obviously, I overhear a lot of things. So it's like I overhear like what they did the night before, what they're going to do, where they're going to be. So it's really cool kind of get to see who they are as people, whether, you know, because players, it's just how you think they are. But it's been fun. I should kind of keep like a little journal of like things I figure out and things I'm able to put together. Also, somehow Hyunjin Ryu is able to like communicate with everyone on the team. He doesn't speak any English, so when I see him talking to like Kershaw, I don't know what the hell he's saying, but he somehow does it, Ryu. He's a god on the mound and off the mound, so whatever he's doing, props to him.
Yeah. He's been pitching out of his fucking mind so far. At least today's, June 2nd?
Yeah.
At least as of June 2nd, 2019, Ryu is putting together, Kershaw numbers.
The thing is, he's always been good. He's just always hurt.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been hurt this year. I mean, knock on wood again, but he's been fantastic. And he's, you look at the guy, you know, he's kind of chunky. His fastball's 91, 92. He doesn't have, a Kershaw curveball. So it's the fact that he's been this dominant is remarkable. And, you know, he's very humble about it. Like, the other day, we asked him, have you thought about starting the All-Star game? Because he should, and this one would be the starter. And he's like, oh, it's too early to think about that. But it's well, the All-Star game's 4 weeks away, so it's definitely not. But he's still humble about the whole thing, and I don't understand it, but I love me some Hyunjin Ryu. He's the cutest player on the Dodgers. He's just so adorable. I love him.
He is so... I love, the big, thick Korean, cheeks.
Oh, yeah.
It looks just it's a really cuddly version of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, he would strike your ass out.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, they have a good amount of diversity on the team. Have you seen any interactions between a guy from Japan, like Kenta Maeda, and a guy from South Korea, like Ryu?
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time, same with Kenta, where Kenta, he'll somehow be talking to, one of the white guys on the Dodgers that definitely doesn't speak any Japanese or anything that I'm certain of. But then you also got guys like Julio, Pedro Baez, where I'm fairly certain neither one of those guys speak any English, and I'm sure that there's some players on the Dodgers, they can speak a little Spanish, but it'll be the same thing. The craziest one I've seen is Julio talking with Ryu. So you got a guy that speaks only Spanish, a guy that speaks only Korean. What the hell are they talking about? So I guess baseball, they're able to figure it out, but it's weird seeing them communicate like that, because again, I'm I don't know how they're doing it, but they're somehow doing it.
Yeah. think this is going to be the last question. We're going to wrap up, but you kind of talked about being behind the scenes and hearing what players are doing, whether it's Cody Bell and just their activities, and then overhearing the thoughts like Cody Bellinger talking about he wants to smash Hannah B. Have you ever walked in at the wrong time?
No, I don't think I've walked in at the wrong time yet. Luckily, I mean, you definitely like it's. There's definitely times when like players are not in the mood. You can tell to like talk or anything, especially like following a loss. It's completely different, like the locker room. But yeah, nothing too bad yet. Where I've been like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, but I'm sure something's gonna happen or something's gonna come up. But like it's the thing, like you can kind of tell when it's like okay to go approach them or when it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, nothing too bad. But I'm sure I've only been there for like a month or two. I'm sure some of these beat writers that have been there for a while, they have some stories where something's gone wrong. But like I said, luckily for me, no bad memories quite yet. But I'm sure that'll change. Yeah, not need some damn wood here because I've said knock on wood like 5 times. But
well, we're on the casting couch, so we could just get hard real quick.
Shit.
Gotta get it going. All right.
It's my first ever casting couch, by the way.
Yeah.
I hope I'm doing a good job.
Do it good enough, you might get some anal after.
Well, I hope not because my ass is still hurting from yesterday. So, well, then again, the pain I'm in, it can't get any worse. So, let's do it.
All right, so just some little butt fucking going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody, I don't know if anybody's been getting this far into the episode, but kind of took a little bit of a turn.
I hope they did because this has been a fun episode. I hope people are tuning in. If anything, if they're tuning into the very end, hey, how's it going? This was a damn good episode. You should go watch the rest.
You should, because like apparently Jock has a small dick. But yeah, no, I mean that was awesome having you on. I'm really glad you're able to come over. And it kind of shows that no matter if you're kind of one of the not so smart and white kids at Arcadia, you could actually kind of be something. I don't know. Yeah.
I'm living proof. Covering the Dodgers, running the #1 most viewed and subscribed college football YouTube channel there is. And yeah, that's all just stuff I just did on my own because I was like, why not? And you can do it too if you're out there, young child. You can do the same. You can do the same.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. No, that is true. Always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, glad to have you on the show.
Hey,
it was a lot
great
of fun.
to be here. Great to be here.
So, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Matt_Weiner_. Thank you.
So there's an interview with Blake Harris, creator of Harris Highlights. And I really hope you guys enjoyed that conversation in particular, because it was honestly just a blast to have Blake come through. You hear the stories of like the show coming together and all of the little things like that. And it's so crazy to hear that now because it's like, damn, this has really come a long way in such a short amount of time. But at the same time, it feels like literally just the beginning of this really is all starting. So it's just one of those things where after listening to it and putting the video together for this week, it really made me pause and reflect. Like just how much I've changed personally and how much my life has changed in general. I mean, the original interview that I did with Blake was done 2 weeks before I graduated high school. And now that feels like ages ago. That was the best. Throughout the year, he loved to roast me. And anytime he could, he would. And I would definitely provoke it. But that roast was a little bit different. At the time, I appreciated him telling me how he felt and not what I wanted to hear. It made me realize not everyone is going to like the content and definitely not going to like myself. But as long as you watch and form an opinion, then that's all I can really hope for and ask for. If I am as boring as the 2019 All-Star baseball game, then I failed miserably. Like, literally so boring. It was just one of those things where it's like, damn, every year you get so hyped up because the home run derby is super fun, and then comes time for the All-Star game, you're like, fuck, I forgot that this could be sometimes kind of boring. Like, the only good parts really were the couple of minutes that Freddie Freeman was mic'd up at the plate when he was jawing with Justin Verlander. That was funny. That was hilarious. But the worst mic'd up sessions was a battle between Mookie Betts and Jessica Mendoza versus Bellinger and Yelich. wow, that was painful for both of those, especially for Bellinger and Yelich. Like the whole Belly versus Yelly thing, like the media has manufactured and just grossly created this artificial best friendship between Cody and Christian. This is weird. Like the commercial where they're playing the game of MVP when they're hitting the balls out in Milwaukee, and then Cody's doing the same thing at Dodger Stadium. It just looks forced, and it's like, ugh. Like the amount of forcing going on from the media right now just is almost as bad as the one Office episode when Kevin tried to stick the stalk of broccoli down his gullet. Yeah, that bad. It would be so interesting to hear Cody's and Christian's take on this, to see if this is a genuine friendship, kind of like a throwback to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, or are the main medias just pulling this out of their ass like a necklace of anal beads? I just love how Cody looks too high to care about any of this when he's on TV doing the interviews and stuff. Because this is not what he cares about. He just, like, ESPN asks him questions that they think he cares about, or just questions he's answered a million times, but he doesn't give a shit. And it's just funny watching him just going through this as lackadaisically. At this point, there is no way he doesn't have a little escape room at every single stadium he goes where he just hides an eighth with a lighter and a bong and lights that shit up. Yeah, he's getting dumb loaded. When you're top 3 in almost every single important hitting category, go stupid, go crazy. The only people that are getting more loaded than Cody are the MLB officials that are in charge of creating the new rules. I'm not saying they're loaded because they are bad ideas, but it's more the fact that they're just really weird and out there. Like, whoever thought of the stealing first base idea was definitely getting bombed on by the Sherm stick. It's just so completely out of right field. Like, what? Like, stealing first base? I could understand, like, the purpose of it to make the game more exciting. And the thing is, usually I'm all for making the game more entertaining, but this just seems way too pulled out the ass. I mean, what's next? Adding a fucking parkour element where you get a .25 of a run every time you do a flip around the bases? It just feels like they're trying too hard to compensate for people that think the game is boring. Part of the beauty in baseball is how difficult it is to reach first base. And now, after watching baseballs fucking take off out of the ballparks this year, help a pitcher out for the one time. The one rule change that I like a lot is the new bullpen one where pitchers must face three batters or reach the end of an inning before they can get subbed out. As someone who hates commercial breaks more than the analysis from Jessica Mendoza, this rule is fucking awesome. Besides less commercial time, it forces managers to really change their approach, which makes the game fun in a different way and really forcing guys to actually go out there and have to pitch. You know, if they're good enough to make the major leagues, then I'm sure that the lefty specialist is good enough to pitch to righties and lefties. But it is kind of that the term loogies is currently taking a dirt nap, the lefty one-out guy. So to end the show, I'll be mentioning some classic loogies, and to honor them, I will be doing a cappella rendition of My Type by Saweetie. So first, a moment of silence for the loogies, the classic ones: Jesse Orozco, Jerry Blevins, Paco Rodriguez, Mike Myers, Javier Lopez, Randy Choate, and lastly, the great Hung Chi Kuo. This a cappella rendition of My Type by Saweetie is for the memory of guys like you, guys that just had to get one guy out. So thank you for that, and I hope I can honor you correctly. Hennessy on my lips, take a little sip, privacy on the door, I'ma make the shit grip. Do. Rich brother, 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. That's my type. 8-inch big woof, that's good pipe. Bad bitch, I'ma ride the dick all night. Rich brother, 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. That's my type. 8-inch big woof, that's good pipe. That's my type. That's my type. New wrist, new whip, right around dip. I can see why all these basic hoes piss. Bust down wrist, not a bust down bitch. Said I want your man, no the fuck I don't sis. If he a rich brother, why he still hitting licks? Spending bread, but he still can't hit. Bitch, please. Lamborghini keys. Pussy dripping ice. He get flown out to me. Bitch, please. I want a man with the bees. Yeah, pussy from the bay going dumb on the D. Hennessy on my lips. Take a little sip. Privacy on the door. I'ma make the shit grip. Do do. Do do. Do do. Rich 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. That's my type. 8-inch big, woof, that's good pipe. Bad bitch, I'ma ride the dick all night. Rich 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. That's my type. 8-inch big, woof, that's good pipe. That's my type. That's my type. New wrist, new whip. Ride around dipped. I can see why all these basic hoes piss. Messy hoes like to pop shit. Thank you. Enjoy your day.